Remy reveals the secret Deacon is his biological father. A devastating family secret could destroy everything, in what could become one of the most shocking revelations in the bold and the beautiful history. Emerging speculation suggests that Remy Price may discover an earth-shattering truth: Deacon Sharp could be his biological father. This bombshell revelation would transform a romantic relationship into an unthinkable family tragedy, as Remy's current boyfriend, Deke Sharp, is already confirmed to be Deacon's son. The potential discovery would mean that the two young men who have built their lives together are actually biological brothers, creating a situation that would devastate everyone involved. The scandalous past that refuses to stay buried. Deacon Sharp's tumultuous romantic history has left a trail of consequences spanning decades across Los Angeles. Known for his pattern of abandoning pregnant partners and making questionable decisions, Deacon has already fathered multiple children with different women, including Hope Logan with Brooke Logan and Eric Sharp, now known as Deke, with the late Becky Moore. Given this established pattern of behavior, the possibility that another child from Deacon's past could emerge is not only plausible, but narratively consistent with his character's established history. The Bold and the Beautiful has a long-standing tradition of introducing long-lost children storylines, particularly when it serves dramatic purposes. Soap operas frequently rewrite historical timelines to accommodate new characters and shocking revelations, making it entirely feasible that Remy could be revealed as another son Deacon never knew existed. This storytelling technique has been employed successfully numerous times throughout the show's history, creating compelling drama that keeps viewers engaged for months. The confrontation that changes everything. The revelation would likely emerge during a tense confrontation where Remy confronts Deacon about his past relationships. Sources suggest that Remy may have been conducting his own investigation into his family background, potentially uncovering evidence that points to Deacon as his biological father. The timing of this discovery could not be more catastrophic, as Remy has already established himself at Il Giardino, Deacon's restaurant, and has formed a close bond with his potential father figure. Deacon initially hired Remy on a trial basis, offering him both employment and living arrangements in exchange for hard work. The restaurant owner admired Remy's ambition and boldness in asking for what he needed, qualities that Deacon himself possessed in his youth. This growing paternal connection makes the potential revelation even more heartbreaking, as Deacon has unknowingly been mentoring his own son while that son maintains a romantic relationship with his brother. The DNA test that will determine everything. Once the possibility emerges that Deacon could be Remy's biological father, a DNA test becomes inevitable. The medical procedure represents the only definitive way to confirm or deny the relationship, and both Remy and Deacon would likely insist on obtaining absolute certainty before making any decisions about their futures. The waiting period for DNA results would create unbearable tension for everyone involved, particularly for Deke, who would be forced to confront the possibility that his romantic partner is actually his biological brother. DNA testing has become a standard plot device in soap opera storytelling, particularly on The Bold and the Beautiful, where paternity revelations frequently reshape family dynamics and character relationships. The show has utilized this narrative technique numerous times over its decades-long run, creating dramatic moments that resonate with audiences and generate significant viewer engagement. A positive result confirming Deacon as Remy's father would rank among the most shocking paternity revelations in the show's history. Biological brothers in a romantic relationship. If the DNA test confirms Deacon's paternity, the implications would be catastrophic. Deke Sharp and Remy Price, who have been living together and building a future as romantic partners, would discover they are biological brothers. This revelation would transform their relationship from a loving partnership into an inappropriate and impossible situation that violates both social norms and legal standards. The psychological impact on both young men would be profound and potentially permanent. The situation becomes even more complex considering that Deke and Remy represent the Bold and the Beautiful's first gay male couple. The show has been praised for introducing this groundbreaking representation, making the potential destruction of their relationship through this revelation particularly tragic. Instead of celebrating their love and building a life together, Deke and Remy would be forced to separate and process the traumatic knowledge that they had unknowingly engaged in a relationship with their own sibling. Deacon's dark past comes to light. This revelation would force Deacon to confront yet another consequence of his reckless behavior during his younger years. Throughout his time on The Bold and the Beautiful, Deacon has struggled with the repercussions of his past actions, including abandoning Becky Moore when she became pregnant with Deke. The discovery of another abandoned child would confirm patterns of behavior that Deacon has spent years trying to overcome and make amends for. Deacon's history includes multiple instances of walking away from pregnant partners and failing to take responsibility for his actions until forced to do so. With Becky Moore, he left when he discovered her pregnancy, only later gaining custody of their son Eric Deke after a complicated series of events involving Amber Moore's baby-switching scheme. The revelation that he abandoned yet another pregnant woman and unknowingly left another child without a father would represent a devastating blow to his efforts at redemption. The complicated history of Dek's birth and childhood. Understanding the full impact of this potential revelation requires examining the complex circumstances surrounding Dek's birth and early childhood. In the early 2000s, both Amber Moore and her cousin Becky Moore became pregnant simultaneously. Amber hoped her boyfriend Rick Forrester was the father of her child, while Becky knew that Deacon Sharp was the father of hers. When Amber's baby tragically died during childbirth, she made the desperate decision to swap her stillborn child with Becky's healthy newborn son. The baby was initially raised as Eric Forrester III, with everyone believing him to be the biological son of Amber and Rick. This deception continued for months until Becky, who had been experiencing dreams about her son, remembered that her baby had a distinctive heart-shaped birthmark. While babysitting the child she believed to be Amber's son, Becky noticed the same birthmark and realized that this was actually her biological child. After a period of custody battles and legal complications, Deacon eventually gained custody of his son and briefly raised him with his then-wife Macy Alexander. The pattern of abandoned children. If Remy is indeed confirmed to be Deacon's biological son, it would establish a disturbing pattern of abandoned children throughout Deacon's past. Beyond Deke and potentially Remy, Deacon also initially abandoned his daughter Hope Logan, only becoming involved in her life years after her birth. This consistent pattern of creating children and then failing to be present in their lives represents one of Deacon's most significant character flaws and sources of personal shame. The soap opera genre frequently explores themes of absent fathers and the long-term consequences of parental abandonment. These storylines resonate with audiences because they reflect real-world issues that many families face. By introducing Remy as another abandoned son, The Bold and the Beautiful would be reinforcing these themes while creating opportunities for dramatic character development and emotional confrontations that could span multiple story arcs. Remy's troubled past and desperate search for identity. Remy's arrival in Los Angeles was not random. He came to the city specifically to pursue Electra Forrester, whom he had been stalking through the creation of damaging deepfake photographs. This disturbing behavior suggests deep psychological issues potentially rooted in his unclear family background and lack of parental guidance. When Remy relocated to Los Angeles, he appeared to have no strong family connections or support system back home, which could indicate that he was raised without knowledge of his biological father. The revelation that Deacon is his biological father could provide context for Remy's troubled behavior and desperate need for connection. Many psychological studies have demonstrated that children raised without knowledge of their biological parents often struggle with identity issues and attachment problems. Remy's stalking behavior toward Electra and his willingness to harm her through deepfake images could be manifestations of deeper emotional wounds stemming from abandonment and lack of familial belonging. The impact on Deacon's current family. This revelation would send shockwaves through Deacon's existing family relationships, particularly with his daughter Hope Logan. Hope has struggled throughout her life with the consequences of having Deacon as a father, and the discovery of yet another abandoned half-sibling would likely reopen old wounds and force her to reevaluate her relationship with her father. Additionally, Deacon's current wife Sheila would need to process this information and determine how it affects their marriage and future together. The extended Forrester and Logan families, who have been deeply intertwined with Deacon's life for decades, would also be affected by this revelation. Given that Deke has expressed ambitions to work at Forrester Creations as an aspiring fashion designer, the family connections become even more complicated. Electra Forrester, who is victimized by Remy's stalking and deepfake schemes, would potentially end up working alongside the man who tormented her, creating an untenable workplace situation. The psychological devastation for Deke and Remy. The psychological impact on both Deke and Remy cannot be overstated. For Deke, discovering that the person he loves romantically is actually his biological brother would constitute a profound betrayal by fate itself. The relationship that brought him joy and companionship would be transformed into a source of shame and trauma. He would need to process not only the loss of his romantic partner, but also the disturbing knowledge that he had unknowingly crossed an ethical and biological boundary. For Remy, the revelation would be equally devastating, but complicated by his already troubled psychological state. After relocating to Los Angeles to stalk Electra Forrester and engaging in criminal behavior through deepfake creation, Remy was attempting to build a new life with Deke. The discovery that this relationship is actually incestuous would likely trigger a psychological crisis requiring professional intervention. The combination of his existing mental health issues and this new trauma could push Remy toward even more destructive behavior. Deacon's reckoning and path to redemption. Confronting this revelation would force Deacon to engage in a profound reckoning with his past behavior and its far-reaching consequences. Throughout his time on The Bold and the Beautiful, Deacon has oscillated between attempting redemption and falling back into destructive patterns. The discovery that his past recklessness has created such a devastating situation for two young men, particularly his own sons, would represent a turning point requiring genuine transformation. Deacon would need to take responsibility not only for abandoning Remy at birth, but also for the chain of events his absence set in motion. A father's presence in a child's life provides stability, guidance, and identity formation. By failing to be present for Remy, Deacon contributed to the psychological issues that led Remy to Los Angeles, into Deck's life, and ultimately into this impossible situation. The weight of this responsibility would be crushing for Deacon, regardless of his intentions or awareness at the time. The community reaction and social fallout. When news of this revelation spreads through the Los Angeles social circles that form the backbone of The Bold and the Beautiful, the reaction would be swift and severe. The Forrester, Logan, and Spencer families have experienced their share of scandals over the decades. But a situation involving unknowing incest between Deacon's sons would rank among the most shocking. The gossip mills would work overtime, making it impossible for Deke and Remy to escape public scrutiny and judgment. For Deke, who aspires to work in the fashion industry at Forrester Creations, this scandal could destroy his professional dreams before they even begin. The Forrester family, despite their own complicated history, maintains certain standards for those associated with their company and brand. Being at the center of such a sensational scandal could make it impossible for Deke to achieve his career goals in Los Angeles, potentially forcing him to relocate and start over elsewhere. The legal and ethical implications. Beyond the emotional devastation, this situation would raise significant legal and ethical questions. While Deke and Remy entered their relationship without knowledge of their biological connection, the revelation would require them to immediately cease all romantic and physical aspects of their partnership. Depending on the jurisdiction and specific circumstances, there could even be legal complications requiring navigation. Though typically laws regarding incest focus on situations where the biological relationship is known, the ethical implications extend to Deacon's responsibility in creating this situation. While he may not have known about Remy's existence, his pattern of irresponsible behavior with multiple partners created the conditions that made this tragedy possible. Ethical philosophers and counselors would likely argue that Deacon bears significant moral responsibility for the harm caused to both his sons, regardless of his ignorance about Remy's paternity. The potential for dramatic storylines moving forward. From a storytelling perspective, this revelation would create opportunities for months of compelling drama across multiple character arcs. The Bold and the Beautiful could explore the healing process for Deke and Remy as they attempt to rebuild their lives and form a healthy sibling relationship despite the trauma. Deacon's journey toward genuine redemption and making amends to both his sons would provide rich material for character development and emotional scenes. Additionally, the revelation could impact other storylines involving Deacon's relationships with Hope, Sheila, and the broader Forrester and Logan families. The ripple effects of such a massive secret coming to light would touch virtually every character connected to Deacon, creating interconnected storylines that could sustain viewer interest for an extended period. The show's writers would have numerous options for exploring the aftermath and long-term consequences of this devastating revelation. The ultimate question: can this family heal? The most profound question raised by this potential storyline is whether genuine healing and reconciliation is possible after such a revelation. Can Deke and Remy move past the trauma of their unknowing relationship and build a healthy sibling bond? Can Deacon ever truly make amends for the consequences of his past behavior? Can the broader family and community move past the scandal and support these three men in their healing journey? The answers to these questions would likely unfold over many months of storytelling, providing the bold and the beautiful with compelling dramatic material that explores themes of family, identity, redemption, and forgiveness. While the initial revelation would be devastating, the show's history suggests that even the most damaged families can find ways to heal and move forward, albeit with permanent scars from their experiences. This potential storyline represents soap opera drama at its most intense and emotionally charged, combining shocking revelations, family secrets, and the devastating consequences of past actions into a narrative that would captivate audiences and generate significant discussion among fans of the genre.